Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at your homes. During this period of time, you must be having a lot of time to spend with your studies. I hope you all of you are studying. Anyway, today onwards, we are beginning our online classes. So first of all, in class 8, I would like to begin with social science. If you have your book, please open chapter number 1. How, when and where. How, when and where. So students, before starting the chapter, we need to know certain things about history. Like, what is history? History is about finding out how things were in the past and how things have changed. Earlier, history was synonymous with dates. How, when, and where is all about dates and how important dates are when it comes to studying history. So, the first subheading we have in the lesson is how important are dates? How important are dates? There was a time when historians were fascinated with dates. There were heated debates about the dates on which rulers were crowned or battles were fought. In the common sense notion, history was synonymous with dates. You may have heard people say, I find history boring because it is all about memorizing dates. Is such a conception true? Is history all about memorizing dates? No. History is not all about memorizing the dates. Dates are certainly important in history, but at the same time, it is not all about memorizing the dates. So, history is certainly about changes that occur over time. It is about finding out how things were in the past and how things have changed. As soon as we compare the past with the present, we refer to time, we talk of before and after. It means in history, we don't focus on dates only, but we also study and focus in the changes. That means we study what was before and what is after. Living in the world, we do not always ask historical questions about what we see around us. We take things for granted, as if what we see has always been in the world we inhabit. But most of us have our moments of wonder when we are curious and we ask questions that actually are historical. For example, watching someone sip a cup of tea at a roadside tea stall, You may wonder, when did people begin to drink tea or coffee? Looking out of the window of a train, you may ask yourself, when were railways built and how did people travel long distances before the age of railways? Reading the newspaper in the morning, you may be curious to know how people got to hear about things before newspapers began to be printed. All such historical questions refer us back to notions of time. But time does not have to be always precisely dated in terms of a particular year or a month. Sometimes it is actually incorrect to fix precise dates to processes that happen over a period of time. People in India did not begin drinking tea one fine day. They developed a taste for it over time. There can be no clear date for a process such as this. Similarly, we cannot fix one single date on which British rule was established, or the national movement started, or changes took place within the economy and society. All these things happened over a stretch of time. We can only refer to a span of time, an approximate period over which particular changes became visible. So, students, whenever we talk about a processes or a period of time, we cannot fix a particular date, and if at all we are fixing, it will be incorrect. If at all it is incorrect to fix a particular date in history, then the next question arises here is, why do we continue to associate history with a string of dates? So, this association has a reason. So, students, what is the reason? The reason is, there was a time when history was an account of battles and big events. It was about rulers and their policies. Historians wrote about the year a king was crowned, the year he married, the year he had a child, the year he fought a particular war, the year he died, and the year the next ruler succeeded to the throne, etc. For these events, specific dates can be determined, and in histories such as these, debates about dates continue to be important. In history, dates are important. Then the next question comes here is, which dates are important? By what criteria do we choose a set of dates as important? The, the dates we select, the dates around which we compose our story of the past, are not important on their own. So, when do they become important? They become vital or important because we focus on a particular set of events as important. Is it clear to you? So, the dates become vital or important because we focus on a particular set of events as important. If our focus of study changes, if we begin to look at new issues, a new set of dates will appear significant. Let me give you a small example. Everyone of us have birth date, correct? Yes. So as long as we give importance to our birthday, that becomes vital and important. And our focus on a particular set of events is important. But if you leave out your birth date and if you start giving importance to my birth date, then it will become a new issues. That means your focus of study will change. Then my birth date will become a significant for you. It will become an important date for you. Let us look at the example of the text. In the histories written by British historians in India, the rule of each governor general was important. These histories began with the rule of the first governor general, Warren Hastings, and ended with the last viceroy, Lord Mountbatten. Please underline this sentence in your textbook. These histories began with the rule of the first governor general, namely Warren Hastings, and ended with the last viceroy, namely Lord Mountbatten. During the British rule, all the dates in these history books were linked to these personalities, to their activities, policies, achievements. It was as if there was nothing outside their lives that was important for us to know. The chronology of their lives marked the different chapters of the history of British India. Can we not write about the history of this period in a different way? How do we focus on the activities of different groups and classes in Indian society within the format of this history of governor generals? When we write history or a story, we divide it into chapters. Why do we do this? The reason is it is to give each chapter someone coherence. That means it is to give importance to someone in the chapter. It is to tell a story in a way that makes some sense and can be followed. In the process, we focus only on those events that help us to give shape to the story we are telling. In the histories that revolve around the life of British governor generals, the activities of Indians simply do not fit. They have no space. What then do we do? Clearly, we need another format for our history. This would mean that the old dates will no longer have the significance they earlier had. A new set of dates will become more important for us to know. So, students, as long as we give importance to one set of dates, that becomes important for us. And if we change our focus from that set of date, and if we start giving importance to another date, then that particular date becomes important, because if we change our focus of study, the particular date also changes.